Welcome back to the FTN NFL Draft Team Preview Series. I'm your host, Mike Randle. Follow me on X at Randle Rant. And folks, we're going out to see the Chargers. A lot of changes in the front office, coaching staff. They're always a buzz team. And the only person I go to here is the incredible Matt Money Smith, 3 to 7 p.m. Petros and Money, AM 570 LA Sports. And of course, the play-by-play voice for the Chargers. He joined us last year. We talked Quentin Johnson versus Zay Flowers. So we're going back to him again. Matt, it's great to have you on. And I got to start with the beginning here. Their first pick in the first round. If they don't trade it, I'm convinced it's going to be Joe Alt. So my first question is, do you think they're going to trade it? And if they don't, who are they going to take? The floor is yours.
Okay. Love being here, Mike. Always enjoy it when you reach out and say we got to get together. The conversations are awesome. And, you know, we all love this stuff. We do. We love it. I'm excited. I was at the facility yesterday for the first day of phase one and just listening to Ben Herbert. If none of you have look, Harbaugh's presser was great. Hayden Hurst was great. I think that's an important one. If you kind of want to get an idea of what's happening with the Chargers moving forward, hearing it from a player and hearing how similar the experience was on day one as his 2 years in Baltimore, I think lets you know, yeah, this is going to be very similar to what the Ravens do. But the Ben Herbert, who is their strength and executive director of strength and performance, and by all accounts, you talk to anybody around college football and they say that was the secret sauce for Michigan's success, what he was able to build and what he was able to build there. And man, it's an awesome 30 minutes. I would recommend going to Chargers.com, clicking videos and take it in, because he is an intense dude and has a great way of communicating what they're doing. I say all of that to set up the answer to your question, Mike, and it is, they are going to be searching for a deal. I believe it in my heart. I think they want to get as many new bodies in to develop, to bring into this system, to build a team in their image and the physical nature by which they play football. So, and I've been thinking about it. So many people are talking about Minnesota 11-23 and if in fact all, 4 quarterbacks are going to go, if that's how, and I don't know if that's ultimately what happens, but let's just say it is, man, to me, it is so easy and it is so obvious. And it is Minnesota trades up with Arizona. Arizona gets 11-23. And then and before they make that trade, Ossie is on the phone with Joe Ortiz and he says, hey, I'm going to send you back 11-27. And basically, I'm just going to jump 4 spots and still get the same guy that I wanted in Marvin Harrison Jr., and you're going to get 2 ones out of this. So I'm going to take 11-23, and then I'm going to give you 11-27, and I'm going to come up and get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 5. And I think Joe Ortiz jumps at that deal to get, and he may say, you know what? Keep 27. Give me your 2 and your late 3 instead. I want 3 picks instead of 2. You can keep 23 and 27. It just seems so obvious to me, Mike, that that's the way this thing is going to go if Minnesota trades to 4.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I was thinking, Matt, and you totally changed my mind. But what I was thinking is Harbaugh, running game, San Francisco, Frank Gore, Alex Smith, Kaepernick, and just the thought of having Alt and Slater and a great offensive line would be a great foundation. But to your point, this is a very deep draft with offensive linemen. Right. I like over 9.5 offensive linemen going in the first round, so they could absolutely trade back and still get a quality piece for that front line.
I think that's the key, Mike, is, what is the grade on Alt? Is he even their number one? You know how the offensive linemen are. It really is like offensive linemen are kind of like wide receivers, where you want that road grader. Rashawn Slater was an all-pro his rookie year. He was beat to heck last year. I know people were taking shots at him. He played through 2 ankles, not 1, 2 ankles for the majority. He got bent back badly against the Raiders. I think it was week 3, was never the same guy until like the last couple weeks of the season. And you saw that Rashawn Slater we were used to seeing. So to me, it's where is Alt graded? How close is Fuaga? Is Latham? Is Mims? Guyton? I feel like Graham Barton seems like a guy that fits right into what they want to do. So to me, I think it's and because of that, I think they may look, if they can get those 2 ones, if that's kind of the way this plays out, they're like, well, look, we get that 27 and we probably got a good shot at maybe Guyton or Powers Johnson or Barton or one of those players, Fatano, one of those guys back there that might not be as a tackle. And then they can take the corner at 11 because they need corners, man. They desperately need corners. So I think, and then it's Quinyon Mitchell at 11 and your
Yes.
O-line at 27. Like I could see that being something that they're kind of looking at.
See, I agree with you. And that's my last question here. I agree with the cornerback. I agree with the offensive line. I would tell you that the people I talk to on social media are saying Chargers have to take a wide receiver. Chargers need a wide receiver. No Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think they can find them other places. And I don't believe that's how they want to build this offense. But you tell me, I think people overvalue Keenan Allen leaves, Mike Williams. Okay, we got to replace him. I also think that's happening in Buffalo right now with Diggs information today. But you tell me, where does that fall on the priority list,
Right.
wide receiver with the other positions?
So I'll just share my experience. I before I was calling Charger games, I called a lot of college football, and I happened to begin calling Stanford games when Harbaugh arrived. And to me, the parallels are too obvious. They are way too obvious. The NFL has become a finesse league. It has. It is. You look at the numbers of what teams are spending on wide receivers, how they value them, where they're being drafted, and it is reminiscent to me of the Pac-12 in 2000, in the late 2000 aughts and 2010, and in that range when I was calling Stanford, when Stanford hit their peak with Andrew Luck, and I'm calling those games in 2010, 2011, 2012, and it's a finesse conference. It's wide receivers, it's quarterbacks, it's flashy running backs like Reggie Bush, and Jim Harbaugh came in and said, I'm going to beat your ass. I am going to build, intellectual, aggressive brutality is what he called it. And he built a team that the conference couldn't contend with. They just didn't have the personnel. They were built to play, spread it out, throw it around football, and he came in and punished them. And I think I don't know, but I think he sees the same thing. I think he sees we have got a conference full of wide receivers and spread it out and offensive scheme guys that got all their plays, and we're going to play. And that was what Hayden Hurst said in his presser. He said, we're going to play physical football, and a lot of guys don't want to do it for 60 minutes, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be a street fight. And if the players aren't committed to doing it, they'll get rid of them, and they'll find players that will. And that was from a player's mouth, not a coach's mouth. So I think that's what they're going to build. So I would not focus on the why. He never had, I know I'm going a little long here.
No, keep going.
He never had, if you look at the peak Stanford years or the peak San Francisco years, show me the wide receiver one. Yeah. It's Doug Baldwin. It's Griff Whalen. It's like it was tight ends and O-linemen. That's what it was. That's what it was. Delaney Walker and Vernon Davis, and the best O-line in football. It was Kobe Fleener and that whole shoot, I can't remember his name now. It's escaping me. Levine Toilolo,
yes.
And that offensive line, and David DeCastro and Baldwin and those guys up front. That's what it was, and it won. That's the thing. It won. It's just not how he wanted to play. It's how he wanted to play, and they won.
Well, sorry, I lied to you. You led me to my last question then. What about Brock Bowers? Because I think he's a bit of an enigma. I'm doing these mock drafts, locked in with the O-line, love the cornerback, Quinyon Mitchell, totally on board. Could Brock Bowers be a possibility? Not the strongest blocker in the world, but could that be a curveball that you think we can see, or do you think it's pretty much cornerback, offensive lines where you're leaning right now?
Yeah, to me, that's an interesting one because, what Hayden Hurst said yesterday, I said, what kind of tight ends fit this system? And he said, you've got to be able to do everything. He's like, you have got to be able to do everything. Now, they may look at Brock Bowers and say, his competitiveness is on par with Jim Harbaugh's. This is a guy that wants to punish you, that wants you to feel his presence, and he did it in the most physical and most competitive conference. So, and I trust Joe Klatt. He has sat in that production meeting with Jim Harbaugh probably 30 times, maybe more, and calling all those Michigan games for Fox. And he mocked Brock Bowers to the Chargers at 5, and then he mocked him to him again when he had him trading back to 11. He's like, This is a Jim Harbaugh guy. This is how he wins games. So I do think it just, here's the one thing I would push back on Brock Bowers. And I think if it's a collaborative effort with Joe Ortiz, I think do you want your first pick
Yes.
as a general manager of the Chargers to be a tight end that some people are worried might be a little bit on the smaller side. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's we're taking the number one corner, we're taking the tackle. You know, it feels like that's kind of more the vibe of what fits kind of what they're building.
Folks, if you want more information in 10 minutes, there's only one guy to go to. Great insight, great person, great announcer, great voice, everything. Matt Money Smith on X at Matt Money Smith, Petros and Money, AM 570 LA Sports, and play-by-play for the Chargers. Matt, I appreciate a few minutes. It's late night for you. Love to get you back on one more time as we get closer. I'm going back into the vault now to change my mock draft after what you said, but the insight is awesome as always, man. Thank you so much.
You got it, Mike. Anytime. Love doing it.